Hello children, welcome to social science class. Today in history, we are going to learn about the change in empires and regions in the medieval period. So kindly take out your social science supplementary book which is given by Leeds School and let us learn about the changes in empires and the regions in the medieval period. So, different dynasties have controlled different parts of the Indian subcontinent throughout the medieval period. So, the map below shows these changing empires. So, here you can see they have drawn the timeline from 700 CE to 1800, right? So 1800, so you can see the different kinds of rulers. They have ruled that certain regions and empires there. So while you look into it, you can see in 700 CE, you can see the major ruling dynasties in 700 CE is of Chalukyas, Pallavas, Pandyas, and you can see here who's this Chachas. So they were all ruling over these small kingdoms, right? So all together they were ruling over there. So these small different dynasties has its own unique power on the in the year of 700 CE. Next, we'll move on to the next map, that is of it was happened in the 1000 to 1200 CE. So here you can see some changes like Chola Empire came inside and Chalukyas are continuing it, and Sahamanas and Sumras, Paramaras, Cholankesh and Kalacharis, Chandales, Pratiharas. So they were all ruling over at that particular time, when from 1000 till 1200 CE. So there is a difference between this, which was the rulers between the year 700 and 1200, right? So here you can see only some of the rulers may be ruling here and there, but here you can see so many rulers have came. And the next map you can see now, it was the Delhi Sultanate, that Qutb Aibak came there, no? So this is the period of Delhi Sultanate, who ruled among the small subcontinents. Like here you can see Paramaras were ruling here, Yadavas were there, and Kakatiyas were there, and here Hausalyas were there, Pandyas were there, Cheras were there. So you can see the different things. So from here we'll come to know in different year different kings has been ruled montantly. Here when you see in the each one, they are having the unique thing, so that they'll collect all the informations together, so that the main king, for example the Qutbuddin Aibak, what he will do, he won't impact and he won't give his own ideas to rule over the small kingdoms. So the small kingdoms which was around the place, so they also will give some ideas to him for the improvement of economic level, so that the main ruler, he will get the idea from all the small kingdoms and he will rule the whole place. So that is known as the pan-regional empires. So here you can see a pan-regional empire consists of diverse areas controlled by a single ruler. So such an empire enables the sharing of ideas and traditions across its different regions. So a map of India from 1530 to 1707 CE shows the pan-regional empire of the Mughal dynasty. So here the empire extended over a large area, even going beyond the Indian subcontinent to regions in present-day Afghanistan. So here I told, no, so the main king, so there will be so many kings, so many small rulers around the place. So one great king, he will get the ideas from all the small rulers, and he will rule the whole kingdom. Did you get me? So this is known as the pan-regional empire. So here it was given clearly. So here you can see the Mughal empire. So the year was 1525. At the time, who was ruling at that particular place? Babur. So this is the Mughal empire. So which are the thing comes under Mughal empire? Kabul, and then Kashmir. Then what place is this? Hindu Kush, then Hindu Kush, Lahore. So these places comes under the Mughal Empire, and the Babur was the main person, one who was ruling at that particular time in the year 1525. And this yellow color. So here you can see in the map it was given in yellow. So here it was added by 1605 and it was ruled by Akbar. So when you see the book you can see it. So these are the places ruled by Akbar in 1605. So which are the places you can see? Delhi, Agra, Banaras, then Surat, Benares, Patna, Ayodhya, Bengal, and Dhaka, then Calcutta. So these are the places were ruled by Akbar in the year 1605. And you can see the orange color which was drawn in the map. You can see that was added by 1707, and the ruler name was Aurangzeb. So he ruled at that particular time. Bombay, Goa, then this Madras, Pondicherry, and these are the areas which was ruled by the Aurangzeb, isn't it? So they have given this. So for example, in the examination they may ask about the Mughal dynasties or about the what are the things added by, and several kings has been ruled that particular area, isn't it? So these are named as pan-regional empire. So what do you mean by pan-regional empire? There'll be certain small rulers around the thing, so that the main king who has to look into the Hindustan have to get the ideas from all the kings, and they'll be working out for the economic level to increase. Okay, so this is the main thing, and today's homework is of what you have to do is you have to compare the map of India between 1000 to 1200 CE with the current map of India. You may refer to the NCERT geography book for the current map. So no need, you all know all these states like Mumbai, Bengaluru, Delhi, Chennai and all, you know that. So what you have to do is identify and write the names of the kingdoms in which these cities would have been located back then. So you need to compare this map which was given in the supplementary book, Leeds School supplementary book. So with this you have to mark where is Mumbai. Mumbai will be here, right? So you have to write what are the kingdoms in the Mumbai place, and you have to write the kingdom which was followed in Bengaluru and Chennai. You know where is Chennai. So which kind of kingdom was there, and what kind of kingdom, what is the name of the kingdom, and Delhi, you know that. Here it is. So you have to find out which kingdom. You have to write the name of the kingdom in that particular cities. You have to write it. So you have to get a India outline map, and you just mark the cities first, like Mumbai, Bengaluru, Delhi and Chennai, where it is, and you can use some other sketch like for the kingdoms. Did you get me? So this is the today's homework. So we follow up with the next topic. So already we have seen this. Just for clarification, we'll just go through it. Okay. So here we are going to see the reliability of historical sources. What do you mean by reliability? Reliability means the real things which was used by the historical people. Okay. So here we can see the certain sources of history like manuscripts are often difficult for historians to use. So they pose the following challenges. So here what they did, it was very difficult to read that because the handwriting may differ, isn't it? So the scribes at that medieval period, you all know who's mean by scribes. Scribes means they used to write their poet, the journal, every documents, every inscriptions in the paper, isn't it? So we doesn't know how to read that scribes handwriting. So here what they did, they have interpreted the copy again, and they are if we see that, you can see the origins of the origin means the originality of the historical sources. Did you get me? So let us see what are the points they have given in the book. The first point is of they are handwritten and can be difficult to read, as I said. So the handwriting will be very different. You have learnt in the NCERT book there are two different languages, so that from that you can see the different variations. So one may be easy to read and another may be very difficult to read, isn't it? So same the difficulties faced by the historians, while they were learning about the history, the handwriting differs. So they have to move on to the many manuscripts, so which is the true thing, right? Then the second one, they record varied accounts of the same event. So at the same event, they have made it into several accounts. Okay, so accounts means what? In that particular period, one scribe may written in some other matter. So in that same event may be written by some other scribes will be different. So they have to match it, which was good, which was neat, and which was true, everything, which was fact, everything they need to look into it. Okay. So since there were no photocopiers, people called scribes would manually make copy of documents. So here they call the scribes to make the document copies. So if a scribe interpreted the original text differently, the new copy would reflect contradictory or mismatched information. So here what happened? One historian is reading about it and he will rewrite it. So at that time what will happen? The written thing will have the variations to see the matter which was given before, isn't it? So the meaning of words change over time, making text difficult to interpret. For example, the word Hindustan. So in the several centuries goes on. So in each century they have mentioned the Hindustan in different meaning. So let us see. In the first 13th century, you can see the word Hindustan was used to describe the land under the control of the Delhi Sultanate. So which is the areas of Punjab, Haryana, and lands between the Yamuna and Ganga rivers were known as Hindustan in the 13th century, that is of in 1200 CE. But when you come into the 16th century, it was totally changed. So that was of 1500 CE. The word Hindustan was used to describe here. So here they use the particular word Hindustan to describe about the geography, animals, and the culture of the people who lived in the Indian subcontinent. Did you get me? And in the current times, so we'll tell it as the word Hindustan is used to refer to India. So now we call Hindustan as the India, the whole India, right? So in several centuries, they have different meaning for the particular word Hindustan itself, because of the historians, while they are reading and while they are making some other rewrite those concepts, it may change, isn't it? So in the 13th century, the Hindustan, they'll call only the areas of Punjab, Haryana, and land between the Yamuna and Ganga rivers were called as Hindustan. But in 16th century, we can hear it was used to describe about the geography and animals, about the culture of the Indian people who lived in the Indian subcontinent, right? But now at current, we are telling that Hindustan was the India, isn't it? So there is a same way, there is no same variation here. There are some variations between the historians, isn't it? So this is the reality of historical sources. Next we followed by, here is an example that, for example, the old meaning for awful is of awesome and great. But now at the current meaning, it was differed as bad and terrible. Same like the cheater. So we'll say cheater as someone who cheats, isn't it? But in the old meaning, it was given as a person who protected the king's money is named as cheater, it seems. But now at present, we have changed it as someone who cheats. So a young person or child, we'll tell it as girl, it seems. Even the girl was a male or female, they'll say it as girl, it seems. But now it was changed as young female child. Then same thing, meat, we'll tell it as flesh of an animal nowadays, isn't it? But in old meaning, any food that is not a beverage or drink, they'll tell it as meat, it seems. Then nice, in the old days, there will be, the meaning was very foolish and bad. But now nice means it's a pleasant and good. So you can see the word doesn't change, but the meaning has been changed from century to century. So from this you may know this. Then the next concept is of impact of change on common people. So here how the common people, when they move on to from one place to another place. So importantly, from the NCERT book we have learnt. So the people move on from one place to another place. Why they have moved? To exchange their ideas, traditions, cultures. Not only that, they have to overcome their family, isn't it? They have to overcome the economic level which they couldn't face in that particular place. So that they changed. They migrate from one place to, they started moving from one place to another place. So here we can see that the various changes that took place in the Indian subcontinent through the medieval period made an impact on the lives of the common people. So the first you can see the case and change, and we'll see what is the effect about it. So first one, let us see increase in migration and trade. So here why they need to increase their migrate and trade. Why? To exchange the ideas, technology like paper and food like potatoes, maize, chilies, tea, coffee, they took place, isn't it? So when they migrate and they started the trading level to increase, isn't it? Then the next one, availability of new products and services. So more workers were needed. So people moved to towns and large societies to take these jobs. So they couldn't get into it because so many people, they needed to improve that economic level. So what they did, they move on to the next place to improve their economic level. Then the clearing of forest to make room for more agriculture. So here what they did, they were cutting over the trees in the forest. Well, automatically, so many forest dwellers had to migrate to new homes. Some of them started farming and became peasants. So they gradually became members of larger societies, having to pay taxes and provide services to local lords. Here you can come to know that when they clear the forest dwellers has to change the place and they have to look after their homes, isn't it? So they started the farming and lived there. Lived with peasants means they lived with the money they had, right? But they gradually become the member of large society. So that what they did, they have to pay the tax. So they themselves have to work there, and then the tax was introduced at that particular time. So they have to work as well as they need to pay the tax for it. So example, now we are in the stage to pay the tax for each and everything, right? Then society became more differentiated with various jobs. Then occupation-based jatis emerged. So here what happened? So here the society became more differentiated with various jobs. So here you can see people with the same occupation were grouped into the same jati. So here now jati was introduced. So here what they have to do, they have to listen to the jati panchayat leader will be introduced there. So the people under that particular jati, they have to listen to the panchayat leader, what he is saying, right? So here you can see the jati panchayat were formed to manage and to regulate their members. So we all know. So for example, if the leader was given in your class, means for what purpose? To look after all the children, right? The same thing here, the jati panchayat was formed to manage and to regulate their members. So while jatis had their own rules, they also had to follow the rules of the village that they lived in. So whatever rule it is, if the jati member is the jati panchayat leader gave the rule to follow, means there is no other way, they need to follow it, isn't it? So these are the things we saw about the impact of change on common people. The next thing is about new social and political group in the medieval period. So many social and political changes took place between 700 CE to 1750. So you have learnt about the changes in food and technology, like paper has been introduced to maintain all the documents, isn't it? We learnt in the NCERT books. So here so many improvements, like the irrigation level has been raised, isn't it? So the religious level has been changed. So everything was happened in this particular medieval period. So that we learned about earlier, a part of social changes. Let us look at some of the new social and political groups that rose during this period. Which period? This medieval period. So here you can see the new political groups. So first, the Rajputs emerged as an important political group who began to be associated as warriors. So when they began to become a warrior, here the Rajputs emerged there. Then the next one, some other groups that became politically important included the Marathas, the Sikhs, the Jats, the Ahoms and the Kayasthas, a caste of scribes and secretaries were all together joined there, and they made a political group. So when the Maratha emperor, the Chhatrapati Shivaji was there, okay. So these are the other kingdom like Maratha, Sikhs, Jats and the Ahoms and the Kayasthas. They all together made the caste of scribes and secretaries during the Maratha emperor was ruling over that particular kingdom. So here you can see the new social groups. So in the picture itself you can see Brahmanas, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas and Sudras. So they were all going on ruling then by then. So here you can see the emergence of jatis, isn't it? So people began to be grouped into jatis or subcastes and ranked based on their occupation and background. So what they did, so according to their occupation and according to their backgrounds, means some may rich and some may poor, right? So according to that background, they divided the jatis. So here it was ranked as Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Sudras, like that. Did you get me? Then the Jati Panchayat enforced the rules and regulation on the members of the Jatis. So we saw so many Jatis, isn't it? So each Jatis will have their own Jati Panchayat. So they have to follow the rules and regulation which was followed by the leader of the Jati Panchayat. So this is the lesson we learnt about. So from today's homework is so I have marked the questions like in page 33. So I told you to do this homework yesterday, to draw this timeline, and you have to learn all these particular king ruled at that particular period, and you have to mention from which period to which period is the ancient time, medieval period and the modern time. So here this is the thing you need to learn. And in the next page 34 you need to learn that medieval period, around 1050 years it was happened. So you need to learn this topic like food related and technological changes, and you have to learn the religious changes. So no need to copy this in your note, just learn it from the book. So this may ask in your one words. And here the next thing, you all know what do you mean by pan-regional empires. So then the next thing you have to learn this thing. And the next page you have to learn the Hindustan, how it had the variation in the 13th century, 16th century and at current times. So you have to learn these variation between these centuries. And the next point you have to learn is of impact of change on common people. This you should learn the causes and the impact on people. This you need to learn. And in the next page you have to learn the new political groups, how it formed, and what are the other areas when it was grouped there. And then you have to learn about the new social groups. So these are the things you need to follow in the supplementary social science book which was given by Leeds School. So with this we are going to close the chapter, and today's homework is I told you in the beginning itself that we need to compare you need to get a India outline map, and then you have to mark these cities in your map first, and then compare these two maps, and you have to find it out in Mumbai or in Chennai and Delhi, and another one is of Bengaluru. So in these cities you have to find it out which are the kingdom was there, and you have to mention it in the map. So this is the today's homework. I hope that you all enjoyed today's class. Thank you, my dear children.